Hey, can you make that louder? Can you try that with another kit? Can you show me your mastering? Can you also just mix it too? Just edit How the many entire LUFs is that? Let's just be friends. It's a pain. So this isn't going to be a negative video by any means. Just wanted to make that clear. So I'm gonna start with a story, just to kind of explain my point a little bit better. Before I could even pick up a guitar, I always wanted to be in a band. I would always tell my mom how I wanted the stage to look when I was in a big metal band and I was selling out arenas and had this huge ambitious vision for myself, even though I couldn't even play a guitar. From that to fast forward around high school, I started to post covers on YouTube, and that didn't really go anywhere. It kind of crushed me a bit, and I gave up for a while. Joined some bands. I was too awkward to be the vocalist as I wanted to be. Even as a guitarist, I couldn't really find my footing, but continuing on with the covers and just finding what I enjoyed about music so much and why I connected with it so much. It was pretty important to me, not just because I enjoyed the music, but just feeling it, playing it, experiencing it. Fast forward even further to now. I got to a decent place in my mixing capabilities. My skill sets are kind of more refined now after literally thousands upon thousands of hours practicing mixing in Reaper. But all this is really just to say that this has been a lifelong endeavor for me. This has been a lifelong goal, a lifelong dream to work in music with other people and help people get their vision in their songs or album, EP, whatever it may be, into the hands of the general public and be accessible and in a very exciting and presentable way. And the reason I bring up that story is I've spent my entire life building up to where I am right now. And while I could be better, there is people better than me. I'm where I'm at, and this is just my experience and my advice. So first point, music is a deeply personal thing. Some people spend a few hours on a song. Some people spend a year on a song. Some people spend months. Some people spend 20 minutes writing a song. Some people spend, 20 hours. It really just depends on the person. But the point I'm trying to make is they're expressing themselves, their life into that song, that music, that EP. While I understood that from my own experience, sometimes we get in that headspace where what we think is only applied to ourselves. But when the first band reached out to me that I'm working with, named Gemini, you can clearly see that this was like a dream for them as well. Even though it's not producing it themselves, they're writing music and they don't have the knowledge to put those songs into the hands of the public. And I kind of unintentionally became like the Thal guy on YouTube. And so they're having me mix a completely different genre and something completely different than what I'm used to or that I worked with before. And it's not bad. It's not bad music at all. I really do enjoy it. But that being said, I do get discouraged and I do have a very hard time, especially because it's a remote client. I don't have any personal clients. But just trying to have that motivation because you are helping them achieve their dream rather than your own personal goal at that point. It's a lot of pressure and it's very rewarding at the same time. Sometimes you'll send them a mix and they'll say it's like the best thing they've ever heard. They've always wanted it to be heard that way. Sometimes you'll send them a mix and you have to end up revising literally everything in the mix because something isn't sitting right, and it was like a very specific, complicated technique I was doing. This is a very convoluted first point, but what I'm trying to say is music is deeply personal, not just to you, but to everybody. Once you're working with someone else, your goal is no longer your goal, it's theirs, and making their goal as achievable and rewarding for them as possible. So there is sort of a disconnect when it comes to that, because my second point is what you think is a good mix, even though your good mixing got you to where you are, your good mix is not good. What you want in the mix, what you want to be the main focus, what you want to be the highlight of the song, just throw it away. Don't even bother. Don't think about it. I'm being exaggerative, but sometimes it works out. Sometimes you can do as you do, and it just works. But a lot of the time, since they have that vision and it's not your vision that you're working on, you have to also disconnect yourself from your work. Similar to a way that if you've ever been in a band, you write a song or a riff and you're like, this is the one, but then everyone else in the band is like, nah, we can't use that. Kind of hurts in a way, but that's kind of also the beauty in it, because you learn to mold yourself into a multi-dimensional audio engineer rather than just thaw, in my experience at least. Learning to disconnect yourself from your work that you're doing is also important, because it allows the band to freely communicate with you without any like barrier. And when they're able to do that, you'll find that it's much easier to work with them and find what they actually want, which also conveniently leads me to my third point. Not everybody knows what they want. I've had people come to me and they tell me, I would like you to master this song, or they would tell me, I would like you to mix it as you want to, because they don't have any mixed notes or anything. When you're getting your first clients to work with, it's easy to get carried away and say yes to literally everything, and to kind of get sucked into getting taken advantage of in a way. For example, like from my experience, when they don't know what they want and they tell you to do as you do, you'll do it. But then all of a sudden they have all these like ideas that they wanted to convey in the very beginning. So my third point, summarized, is communicate very effectively and very meticulously with what they want and what they need out of your services, because if you don't, then it's just going to be a constant back and forth for days, weeks, or longer, and it's just not worth it. I'll make two more points. Sometimes when someone comes to you for a service and you want to separate their services, because like say you want to mix and master, that can be one, or you can mix and master, which can be two. You really just have to decide on the structure you want to operate on. Like for me, for example, on my website, which you can find on the description by the way, is I offer mixing and mastering as one service. That's just a combined thing for me. I have post-production, I have guidance, so like tailored tips and tricks, whatever you want tailored help on, I can help you with that. And then I also have collaboration. Just as an example, if someone hired me for mixing and mastering, and they also wanted me to, once it was done, add post-production, do not get sucked into that and just do it. If they know your services and they specifically tell you just that service, then stick with that service unless they want to negotiate a different offer, or, just work something out with them directly, rather than just getting sucked into that, because that is your time and that is your energy and your money. I say as I haven't charged anyone yet. And that will just be my point number 4. Be very clear with your services. Make sure they understand what they're getting into and value your time. And my last point, I think, would just be, while sort of common sense, be as respectful and professional as you possibly can. The reason I say that is important, even though it is kind of just obvious, is with that band Gemini, or with any of the other people I'm working with right now, I'm providing a service that they have been so far satisfied with, thankfully. And because of that, because I'm helping them and I'm doing what I can to make it as best as I can for them, and I'm not being rude or like brushing them off or anything, they will come back and they will probably tell other people about me, and I might have more work from that. And that was just kind of a lazy point in a way, I guess, but it is important, and it is something that you should take extremely seriously if you are going to consider doing this work. But that's the video. That is all I have to say, and I have nothing else to say. So shameless plug time, I suppose. I did make a Discord server if you want to join. That's going to be linked in the description as well. If you want to hear my music, you can scan these things right here. I'm not going to waste any more of your time, so that's it for me today. Bye.